Minutes of Morning Calm. And today is sort of a precursor for taking a look at Sunday. Sunday, we're doing a sermon called A Spiritual Framework for Marriage and Intimate Relationships. So today's just some thoughts I'm having going into Sunday. And I want to start with this. Like, this is a sermon on Sunday that's going to be applicable whether you're single, married, or divorced, because so much of life is we learn through relationships. And marriage can be one. Single people also are in deep relationships. That's a beautiful thing. People are divorced, same thing, and a bunch of beautiful relationships. No matter where we find ourselves in that continuum, what kind of spiritual framework can we hold relationally for people? And we're going to talk specifically about marriage, but really it can be broadcast far and wide in terms of how we use spiritual principles. And I was thinking about it, if it came down to just one thing, and there's a number of things we could boil it down to. But if I was to boil it down, it would be the idea of practice heaven now. Like, that's a spiritual framework for marriage and intimate relationships. Practice heaven now. Now, from a Christian New Church perspective, we do not believe that heaven is like this place of perfection where all challenges go away, et cetera, et cetera. No, it still has the ups and downs of life. It just doesn't have the edge to it that we might experience in this life. The edge of despair and anger and frustration. It still has plenty of challenges, lots of things to work through, because that's what we enjoy doing, believe it or not. We don't want a life that is just sitting around like doing nothing with nothing going on. And we're built for this useful process of working through challenges in life. And these challenges are worthy of us, and we are worthy of them. Heaven will reflect that. So what is it? Again, if we take that idea of practice heaven now, how can we sort of follow that? Well, I would start at the top of it, which is that the whole world is this beautiful, beautiful example of marriage. And what is it a marriage of? It's a marriage of good and truth, or love and wisdom, or head and heart might be the easiest way to understand it in today's language. So that means that we're constantly trying to figure out the way for the head and the heart to go together, for good and truth to go together, for love and wisdom to go together. And in our intimate relationships, it's the same thing. Now, what would that look like in a very specific way? Well, just think about somebody you really love, and think about how much you enjoy, like, hearing how they see the world. They offer an insight you just love hearing. They have a perspective that is just beautiful in your mind. That's the wisdom part. And then the heart part is you start to see in them like, oh yeah, and they have this heart, and this is where their heart just reaches out and goes out there into the world. And it's just this incredibly beautiful thing, watching how their heart kind of ripples out into the world in beautiful, beautiful ways. And when we see that, when we see how their head and heart go together, it's a beautiful thing. And that's so much the discovery of intimate relationships, is really trying to discover how someone else sees the world, what their loves are. And when we can see that in them, and it resonates somehow with us, we can see that we'll draw closer. It's hard to be close to somebody who sees the world totally differently than we do, in a sort of an adversarial way, has a totally different heart than we do in an adversarial way. Very hard to combine with those things. So that's kind of this movement. That's kind of this movement as we take a look at it. So we have this movement of two people drawing closer together in intimate relationships. And then we have this movement as well. And then we also have the top movement. So let's go through that second movement. Well, that second movement is the idea that love, wisdom, and use. So we really learn to celebrate the other person. What do they love? How do they see the world? And we share that with them, and we start to see a simpatico kind of happen, and it draws us closer and closer together. But it can't just be about this. It also has to be about this, kind of moving out there into the world. And that's where love, wisdom, and use come in, or love, wisdom, and service, or love, wisdom, and useful service, however you want to put it, where we're putting together our head and our hearts, and now we're joining hands, moving forward out there into the world to try to make a difference. And there's so many ways you can do that. For my wife and I, we work the June Fate Fair every year. It's a local community fair, benefits a local hospital. We do that every year. That's a joining hands, doing it together. We're not side by side the whole time. She is in the refreshment tent, I'm in the refreshment tent, but I like being a cashier because I get to meet a lot of people. She likes kind of doing a lot of things more backstages, which is beautiful. So we're doing it though hand in hand. We're moving outward. So again, like, this becomes this, and it's ever mindful of this. Now, what does that mean? That means it's ever mindful of God. It's ever mindful of the of the biggest pictures we can find in life. It's ever mindful of like, let's look to the Lord together. And it's interesting, even in a wedding ceremony, it's really striking to me that with couples, right? They come together like this at the front with a pastor, and then at some point in time, they face the altar, they face the word, which is again facing God, looking up to God, both together, and then they turn when they leave to face out and move out there into the world. It's like all right there, the this, and the this. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's not terribly complicated. Doesn't mean it's not easy to do, but it's the kind of thing we can keep on practicing in our lives. And I have friends who are divorced, and they're practicing that as best they can. Friends whose spouses have passed on, and they're practicing on. People who've never been married, but they have some beautiful, intimate relationships. They're practicing that. And the beautiful part, God blesses it all, because that's where we really learn. We learn when we get to be good at this. We get to learn when we get to be good at that, and we get to learn to be good at that. When the three really come together, it's quite a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's the thought for today, friends. With your marriage, just sort of figure out how the three are going on, and really have gratitude and insight and curiosity about how your partner sees the world and what they love. Have curiosity there. Have the discipline to make sure you're figuring out some places where you're moving out there together. Again, a date night is terrific. That's one example. And then there's other ways too, with service out there into the world. How does that look for you as a couple? And then make sure as well that you have something higher than you. Go to church together. I mean, as old fashioned as that might sound, it's a great way to keep a marriage strong. Look to God, figure out some way that you can both get clear on, like, this is true north for us. This is where we're going. That will only help your marriage. So that's the idea, friends. So the quick summary: do this, keep mind of that. That simple. And that is the spiritual framework for marriage. And that is how we practice heaven now. So I hope that makes a lot of sense, friends. And what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. We're going to go into our meditation, and then we'll say hi to folks who've joined us on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. And a meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to folks who might have joined us here on Facebook. Again, I hope you all have a wonderful day ahead of you. We got a lot of work to get done today, but it's all going to be great fun. So nothing, trying to think of that great quote by Teddy Roosevelt. The only thing a man can ask is to work hard at work worth doing. So there you go. All right. Sorry about this. Just taking a little minute here. All right, dear friends. Number of comments here. Linda, thank you, and good morning to you. And I hope you have a great weekend as well. Marcus, good morning to you. I hope you have a great day. And everyone else who's joined us, who will be joining us later in the day, again, feel free to leave a comment. It's wonderful to hear from you. And a strong recommendation, please join us on Sunday as we kind of flesh all this stuff out. into a full sermon. So listen, lots of love. We'll see you Sunday. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.